12 reasons jobs are risky and dangerous, and far riskier than ever starting your own business, especially in today's modern age where we are in an abundance of information, free resources at our fingertips. You can build the business whilst staying in a job, so you mitigate all the financial strain, stress and risk. What's your excuse, right? It's never been easier to start a business. But anyway, I am going to talk about the 12 reasons why I think jobs are incredibly dangerous. And we're not even going to talk about AI wiping out millions of jobs over the next several years. I mean, taxi drivers, Uber drivers, we've got driverless cars now popping up all around the world. London is building its automated roads. Things are changing very fast. And I'm also going to talk about personality types in this video and the things that I used to say no to in my last job. That's where it gets a little bit juicy. So if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know I don't hold back. It's very much no BS. But look, next to me will be a little grid, a chart that will pop up, and we'll go through the 12 reasons I believe jobs are just incredibly risky. Number one is no control. This is something I do not like, especially my personality type. I like to be in control of where I'm going, what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, who with, just my whole life, which is why I'm an entrepreneur. I want control. I like to know that I can dictate and navigate towards my preferred outcome rather than giving it all away, right? It doesn't make sense, okay? So most people who have a job are very submissive in the fact that you're giving it all away. Your time, who you work with. The one thing that I didn't like is the fact that they pick your location, they pick who you work with, and then you just have to sort of be okay with it for however long you're in the employed world. I'm not comfortable with that, which is why, again, I planned and I navigated and I built my own business and transitioned out the 9 to 5. Number two, speaking up causes problems. That will backfire on you. This is something, and we'll talk about personality type at the end of the 12 points here, is that if you speak up, I wouldn't say it's the beginning of the end, but it's a problem. If you have a backbone and you say, actually, I don't agree with that, problems will be coming your way. Remember, in a work meeting or you're being told to do something, they only want to hear one thing. Yes, boss. How high, boss? 3 bags full, boss. I'll do it, boss. Straight away, boss. Basically becoming the yes person, right? I was never comfortable with that. I saw people become the yes person and be submissive, and they were broken, absolutely broken. I'm not going to keep sort of digging out Steve here, not Big Bear. Shout out to Big Bear, but Steve, the yes man, used and abused. I'm not going to dig him out, but he was submissive. He developed the alter ego and he was told what to do, right? He couldn't speak up anymore because he agreed to do everything, right? Number three, office politics. In my last job, and I don't know if you've ever been through this, but it was a weird atmosphere. And I actually met up with my mate Big Bear recently and we said about doing this in one of my videos. We used to go into my old office and you'd open up the door and everyone would be in there in the dark with their heads down. No one would even say hello to you. But then there's a lot of gossip. People would whisper. It was the weirdest atmosphere. If you went in that office, it was bizarre. There was just such a negative, toxic culture and environment, and it was so gossipy. And there was a lot of behind the closed doors, like conversations, and everyone had managers had favorites, as a lot of corporate places do, but it was very weird, and you could feel that tension. I couldn't stand office politics. I used to go in, put my stuff down, I used to go make a coffee, and then I'd take myself off and I'd try and interact with as little people or as less people as possible. I just want to stay out the way of people. And luckily I worked an afternoon shift, so I was only there for a few hours when certain managers who I couldn't stand would be on site. So office politics, drama. Again, you can't control it. Number four, HR bias. So HR are biased towards the company. If you have problems, you can't go to HR. I've done a video about this. They say the open door policy. It's not. It's come in, reveal all the problems, and then we're going to decide when you leave whether we get rid of you, which is probably the easiest option, or we deal with the manager that's embedded into the company. But the manager cracks a whip, they get things done. And although people are complaining about the manager, do we really want to do that? Could they come back at us? Have they got a leg to stand on? So HR are literally hired by the company just to protect the company from lawsuits. They'll tell you that we're here, you can come and chat to us, any problems, any managers, fill out the survey. By the way, never fill out workplace survey forms, the anonymous survey forms. And then your manager comes up to you and they're like, oh, by the way, you're the only one that hasn't filled out the form? Well, how do you know that? Oh, it's just, no, I don't. I was just assuming you haven't filled it out. Or you fill out the form and then, you didn't put a good report in, whether that was a form on the computer or, you would write it down, pop it in a box, but yet there's CCTV in the canteen watching you pop it in a box. And then you come in the next day and your manager's just like this, looking at you and you're going, you all right? filled out your survey form, did you? I'd say, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I just didn't care. Anyway, number 5, there's low upsides. Promotions. Is a promotion really exciting? Are any of you actually excited to get more work, barely any extra pay, and show more loyalty to the company? Seriously, like how much gets you excited, you know, gets the old juices flowing? I'm being honest, I'm not taking the mick out of it. How much as a promotion, which is again, national insurance, tax, you know, deducted, but the commitment to the company is so much more. Like what will get your juices flowing? If someone came up to me and I was on, when I left my last job, I was on something like 29,000, call it. If someone came up to me and was like, Aaron, we're going to pay you a £25,000 pay rise on the next promotion, I'd be like, no, because, well, obviously I was aware of business and I was already building one, but I just think, well, if I just commit to myself for 4 years, I could get my business to over 100K, over 6 figures, which I did by the age of 24. I'd be like, why would I do that? So no, promotions, low upsides, right? Again, we've done, you know, on another video of mine, you know, the acute angle, right? Well, in fact, we'll pop up that chart. We'll do it here. This is the corporate world, right? The chart that I created, and this is the business world. Look at the difference, okay? There's a big difference. Number 6, job insecurity, right? There is no such thing as job security. I don't care who you talk to. If someone says to you, I've got a secure job, they've been eating magic mushrooms. There's no such thing as a secure job. And I feel like some people will think that I'm just bashing the 9 to 5. I'm not. My target audience is those who are just about to go into a job, those who are fed up, those who have been used and abused, those who have had enough, those who have got that gut feeling of maybe I should start something. It's never too late. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm very pro business, content creation, live life, you know, life by design. I don't know where my planner is. Life by design is my motto, right? You haven't got to earn millions of pounds to live a life designed by you to be free. Again, in your 20s and 30s especially, you should be climbing mountains and, you know, swimming in oceans and traveling the world with family, not climbing ladders, right? Number 7, there's no autonomy. I don't like that there's so many rules, there's so many regulations, there's so many hoops to jump through, and especially as we become more politically correct, right? You can't say this, you can't joke about this. I mean, oh God, some of the stuff we used to talk about, me, Big Bear, Adrian and Jose, oh, if they had that on recording, you ever seen that meme where, you know, it's a bit of a joke where they're all heading towards the court? You know, they're like, they just found the work WhatsApp group. It was like that. You can't do that anymore. You can't have a laugh. And having banter in the workplace is what gets you through the day. But there's so many rules and regulations and everything is so woke and politically correct. That's why I love working for myself. I don't have any of that, right? I don't even have an HR department. You know, I'm a small little unit in terms of business and I just love it, right? Number 8. Unrecognised value. This one means a lot to all of us. There's not a lot of respect. There's not a lot of value. There's no respecting your boundaries and life balance between family life, work. There's none of that really. And I'm not putting down all companies because look, you know, me as a business owner, you know, I hire people, I work with people, I treat them with the utmost respect, compassion and empathy, and everyone has a voice. And everyone is an equal human being. I'm a big believer in respect. You know, you earn respect and then you give it and you want it back at the same time, right? We're all human beings. That's really important to me. I also have some friends. Big shout out to Benji Leslie, who runs Connect Management. We're going to be doing a podcast soon. I mean, I'm going to save it till the podcast. He is a prime example. I have other friends. Michael Howard, you know, has a company of over 250 staff. Simon Squibb has a big team of like, 18 people now. These are friends of mine. Ali Abdul, Jason Greystone. They all have team members and great business owners, great CEOs. Now, number 9, dependent growth, right? Promotions depend on subjective decisions. We can go quite deep with this, but I'm not going to because I've covered it off in other videos. Are you brown nosing? You might get chosen. Are you being gaslit? No promotion. Are you the favourite? And suddenly you're not. Another co-worker is the favourite. You've been thrown under the bus. People are talking behind your back. The narrative has been changed. Everything is subjective to what's going on and who's the favourite and who comes into the company. You might just be about to get a promotion because you've been the favourite. New manager comes in, bosh, you're out. They like your other co-worker who's put in no effort. They get the promotion. It's all subjective. You can't determine. That's why I say stop working yourself into the ground, being the hardest worker. Because if you're the guy that just buys the coffees at the right time and laughs at the right time, bish bosh bash, you've got the promotion. But look, don't get too excited about a promotion. Number 10, golden handcuffs. The higher roles bring more responsibility and less freedom. Let's just pop it up again for those at the back. This is the corporate triangle, right? I created this because it paints the picture that so many are in denial of. Just take a look at that, right? Mac, make it big, do whatever, stick it in my face.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And Mac, some of you asked me, who do you keep talking to? Well, Mac's my editor. You know, he's a hunk of a man, bald, looks like me in terms of the beard. We get called brothers all the time. He's just an insane editor. So shout out to you, Mac, because I love you, man. I don't know why I said he was bald. I was going to go somewhere else with it. And then I thought, can I say that? No, I might affect the algorithm. But he's a very handsome man and he's one of my really good friends. Number 11, hard work backfires. It really does. If you become a yes person, not only are you going to be burnt out, they're never going to move you. If you want something done, ask a busy person. I've said this all before. The horse that's willing to carry the heaviest load will always get the heaviest load. I just had to check my mic was on. You never want to film and then forget your mic's not on. So I just had to check. A good deed never goes unpunished. Hard work never killed you. Never killed anyone. Well, it did. Number 12. The stress and the risk of, anxiety, depression, mental health problems. It's very real. I won't go into it, but that is a real issue. When you dedicate your life to someone else, normally people wake up one day and go, where the hell is the last 30, 40 years of my life gone? I will tag Mac, if you can bring it up, I will send this video to Mac. We'll just show a clip of it next to me here. I'll include the full link. This was on my Instagram, Mac, if we can just trim any watermarks. This video here, which we'll just show a few seconds of, was talking about at 16 we said we'll do it after school, after GCSEs. 18 we said we'll do it after university. 23 we said we'll do it after we've had a family. 27 we said we'll wait till the kids grow up. 40 years old we'll just pay off the mortgage first and then we'll do the things that we want. 50 years old we'll wait for the grandkids. 60 and then 80 comes and all you want to do is wish the time back and live your life. And to have not dedicated it to an employer, but we can't go back in time, right? So look, personality types. Because it's important to talk about this. Who's suited for the 9 to 5? Because the landscape has changed now. Like, you don't have to work a job. You just have to make money. And you can make money on your own. You can make money by doing anything. You could all open up a print-on-demand company and sell t-shirts, bottles. I've got a friend at the gym who started print-on-demand as well. He sells consumables in the house and he makes like $3,000 a week, gross, right? But he literally started a few weeks ago. He's just done all of his research, dived into the analytics of, what people are buying a lot, like household consumables is a good one, which is what he's selling. He's still figuring it out. He's not perfect. He's got to work on his marketing and lead generation and nurturing his audience and then upselling more consumables. But he's doing pretty well and he still works a job at the moment. So big shout out to my guy at my gym. So look, personality types. If you are any of the following, you're probably not suited for the foreseeable in a traditional 9 to 5. If you are overconfident, and I say overconfident because you've got a bit about you, you're a bit bullshit, you're like me, you got a lot to say, you put your face out there, you're authentic, you're transparent, you don't care what people think, you understand that we're here for a very short period of time and you want to be in control of your life. You don't suit the 9 to 5. I promise you, I don't know you, but if you're overconfident, you don't suit a 9 to 5. Number 2, if you think outside the box. If a manager says something to you and you think, well, I wouldn't do it like that, I'd do it more efficiently like this. They don't want to hear that. They don't want you to embarrass them thinking, well, why don't we just take out this, do this and do this, and then we get to point A to point B much quicker. Why would we do it the long way? They don't want people thinking outside the box. Again, John D. Rockefeller. I want a world of thinkers. I want a world of workers, not thinkers. This is totally true. Number 3, having a backbone. If you turn around and say, I am not being spoken to like that, like me, no. It's not going down like that. If you say, no, I don't agree with that, you are a problem and you're on a very short time span in terms of your career because they want people that will go, yeah, okay, yeah, I need my job, I need to pay my bills, I'll do it, I really don't want to do it and I'm burnt out and I'm stressed out, and that's what they want. Number 4, if you hate fake people. I hated fake alter ego, loss of identity, don't know who you are, midlife crisis people. I can't stand people who mould depending on who comes in the room. I don't like, I've been there. You're in an office and you're all having a chat and you're having a laugh and someone else walks in or a manager walks in, everyone else, yeah, so anyway, the reports, so the metrics of the, and you go in, what? Hang on a minute, we were having a laugh about this and that and farting around or doing whatever, and now you're talking about metrics. Oh, the manager's walked. Oh God, get a backbone. Have a bit about you. And finally, number 5, does not like restrictions, lack of control. If you don't like losing control of a situation and you have no say about the outcome, a 9 to 5 isn't for you. But look, let me finish off on this. These are things, I've had to note them down here. These are things that I used to say in my 9 to 5. And I'm not encouraging this, by the way, just for the record, but I'm just being open and honest about what I was like. These are common things. And I sat here before I filmed this and I thought, what were the things that I said the most to the managers, which rubbed them up the wrong way, but I was entitled to say. So I really thought about them. this is something I said a lot. I won't be doing that. So a friend of mine called Chris, who was quite high up in the company of the last job that I was at, it was a bit of a joke because I always used to say, I won't be doing that. So someone would say something to me or a manager say, right, we're going to be doing this. Aaron, you need to do that. No, I won't be doing that. That's not my job. But I would always give a reason, X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't just outright say, no, I'm not doing it because I don't want to do anything. I would give a reason to why that role is not for me. Just because you're a manager, there is nowhere in your contract that says you boss Aaron about. Same for you. They can't do that to you. Number two, I used to, during a PIP, right? They tried to put me on a PIP, so avoiding a PIP. So Janky, I'll say her name, I said her in my last video, I can't stand her. She tried to put me on a PIP and I managed to avoid it. By the way, you can all do this. People think if you're going to get put on a performance improvement plan, you're screwed, you're doomed. You can counter it by asking for evidence, times, places, when it happened, actual evidence on a computer or whatever, actual evidence to why they're putting you on a performance improvement plan. You can ask them. Anyway, I asked my old manager, I said, well, I disagreed with all of it because it was all nonsense, right? They literally just wanted to get me out of my last job towards the end. And I said, I need you to prove all of that. I need evidence based on everything you've said today because all of it is made up. You know, it was quite a heated one-to-one, but I asked for them to prove, or for her to prove, she was a fairly new manager. So whoever was also passing that information on, and I know who it was, Dan, I asked for them to prove the actual evidence of this lack of performance. Lo and behold, never heard back from them. No evidence ever came my way. There we go. So a lot of people don't know that. Now, number three, my shift has finished. We need to pass it on to the next shift. So this was quite common. I did the afternoon shift, so we led on to the night shift. If things weren't done and people were running about and saying, oh, we need to get it all done, I would say, my shift is done. I'm going home now to my family. This is getting passed on. And I would simply shut my laptop, pack up, say to the manager at the time, had many managers, I'm all done for today, I'll see you tomorrow. I wasn't opening up a conversation. I was simply saying my shift's done, I'll catch you tomorrow. And I typically didn't get any pushback from that. And you can do that too. What are we on? I think we're on number 4. I don't get paid to do that. This one was really common. We'd be in meetings and new projects would come up and people would try and, issue certain tasks and projects, in my last place they used to call it, projects to take on. Oh God, it used to drive me mad. I just used to say, I'm not doing that, because I have no interest in the project. Perhaps someone else wants to do that. That's not my strength. I don't think I'm the best person for it. Any project that used to come up, I used to say, it's not for me and I'm not getting paid for it, that kind of thing. I would not be willing to take on any extra work and I wasn't looking to get paid more. So yeah, I don't get paid to do that was quite a common thing. What are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not training the new manager. So I had this quite a lot. I don't know if any of you have, but we used to have quite a lot of managers come through and rather than senior leader looking after the new managers, they would, I'm going to mention someone called Sean. You were very guilty of this. Sean would bring in a new manager. I've dug out so many people in my last job. Sean would bring on a new manager and then he would just dump it on us supervisors and go, could you train them? And we all got to the point, me and Big Bear especially, when we were sitting in the war room, I think it was called the middle room, the war room or Everest, I can't remember. And James, who I've mentioned before, was one of the new managers at the time. And Sean said, would you train him? And I said, no, I'm not training him. I had like a couple of hours, an hour, 2 hours with him. And I was like, yeah, I'm not having anything to do with that. So, I just used to outright refuse training the managers. And then finally, I used to get asked a lot, certainly in the beginning, again, with new managers who didn't know me, Aaron, could you do some overtime or cover people? No, I'm not doing overtime and I'm not covering people. I'm here for as minimal time. Again, let's just bear in mind, I was building a business. I was looking to become financially independent. I was obviously working towards leaving my 9 to 5, which I kept quiet, which was a result of a lot of these decisions that I made and answers, by the way, just for full context. But yeah, I was not willing to give any of my extra time to cover people or to do overtime for minimal pay. I'd always earn more working on my own business, whether I actually generated cash, but just moving my progression needle was far more productive rather than giving another 1, 2, 3 hours for like, 14, 15 pound an hour. I mean, when I think about 14, 15 pound an hour now, with the world that we live in, it's peanuts. It really is peanuts. You can live on it for sure, but that exchange of time. So I think that's just where I really want to finish on this, is that my reasoning behind not conforming and going against the system is because, again, the core message in all my videos is freedom. independency, taking control of your finances, not being a slave, not being trapped, not getting the golden handcuffs put on you, not losing that control, and ultimately getting to a point as early as possible into a financially comfortable position to then go on holiday when you want, book your holidays without asking permission, to enjoy life, to feel free, to feel authentic, to be your true self, to not question have you made right decisions, to not question did you do everything, to never get to a point in your life where you feel like, you regret not doing things. Also knowing, I think one thing that pushed me is not only the fear of not, we used to be in quite a bad financial position. We didn't have a lot of money, especially in my early years. Fear drove me because I feared the consequence of not being able to escape the 9 to 5 and being stuck and going through this Groundhog Day, this continuous cycle, but also getting to a point in my life where I looked back and I think, I didn't spend enough time with my family, with my son. We didn't go on enough holidays. We didn't take advantage of things. I gave most of my life as the healthiest individual that I could be between my 20s, 30s and 40s and 50s if you stay healthy. And I gave that, you gave 40 hours on average every week. Now, some of my days are long, but on average, most of my days working wise, sitting here, stick the recliner up on my laptop, you're talking like 3-4 hours a day. Like, it's not a joke. That's the reality of it, because we have so much autonomy in terms of processes and structure. And as a guy, in fact, we'll pop it up here. I'll include it on this video. He put, and I'll read this out because I screen capped it, but this will pop up here and I'm going to do a video about this. All business owners I know work more hours than if you did a 9 to 5 though, meaning they spend less time with their family. Main reason I never saw my father growing up. This guy's just outdated in what he knows about business. Business now, you can literally build it as a one-man band, freelance members, no contracts, no ties, totally independent, and you can literally systemize everything. I go on holiday, and I'm very blessed now. I go on holiday a lot throughout the year, multiple times, 4 or 5 holidays a year. We do what we want, we're literally just about to go out for a bike ride with my son. We'll go play football. Everything is on our terms. So this guy, that comment, that's the 80s and 90s. We don't live in those times of business anymore. There has never been so much freedom, which is why the original title, what I spoke about in this video, the core reason, the risk is in employment. We have moved on, people, and times are exciting, and it's time for you to wake up. If you did like this video, please do hit like and subscribe. Gosh, until next time, I hope you'd enjoy it. You enjoyed this video, very real, raw and honest. And that's again what I was like in the 9 to 5. But until next time, I'll see you all very soon. Peace out.